Hey, what's going on, Vikings fans? It's Skol back again with another Minnesota Vikings video. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down my 5 most important X factors in the NFC North. The reason I want to make this video because I feel like every year in the NFC North, it really comes down to divisional games. Yes, normally it's came down to games between the Packers, Vikings, and Bears. However, I do think the Lions are going to play a key factor this year in the NFC North. So I'm going to give you my 5 X factors in the NFC North in this upcoming season. Let's get right into it. Alright, so starting off with my number 1. This is probably my most important X factor for the NFC North this entire year, and it probably will be for all 17 weeks of the season. And that is the Mitchell Trubisky-Nick Foles quarterback camp. Mainly, I just want to put this as the Bears quarterback camp, but I'm going to put this as Nick Foles and Trubisky. Because honestly, as a Vikings fan, I'm more scared of Foles than I am of Trubisky. Now, I know Bears fans will say Trubisky's beat us twice, but really it's been the defense. We've never really been beat by Trubisky, just like how Cousins has never really beat the Bears. I mean, it's in those games, it's just defense, running the ball. However, I think Nick Foles has a huge X factor. Yes, I think Mitch can win games. We've seen it, obviously. However, I think Nick Foles can win games more than Mitch can, if that makes sense. I think a lot of the times when the Bears went 12-4, that was obviously all the defense. That wasn't really on Mitch. He had a couple good games, but you could have put in a lot of quarterbacks and they would have done the same. Number 1 X factor in the NFC North is if Nick Foles is the starter, how good can he be? Can he be dominant like he was in Philly during that playoff run? That's going to be a huge X factor in the NFC North. So my second X factor in the NFC North in this upcoming year is the Vikings cornerback room. Now, honestly, I think the Vikings cornerback room is going to be really hit or miss this year. It's really going to come down to if Gladney, Dance, or Mike Hughes can just take a step forward and make it quick. Because, frankly, they don't really have time to mess around. They don't really have time to, develop. Because, I mean, with everything going on in the offseason with the coronavirus, there's no really, training camp that's going to be full. I mean, yes, they will have one, but they won't be getting the full reps as they would. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains for them. And it's really just going to come down, can they overcome it? And can they step in right away? Very similar to how Lattimore did for the Saints that one year. Step in right away, make some plays. And if they do that, the Vikings defense could be very, very elite next year. Could be top 5, top 3 in the league. However, if it's very similar to where it was last year, the Vikings defense could be floating around middle of the pack, upper middle pack. I think the Vikings cornerback room, if it's elite, the whole defense will come together. However, if it struggles like it did last year, even though I don't think so, could cause problems for that defense, could allow Zimmer to really have to play more conservative. However, if their corners really step up, you could allow Zimmer to rush Barr more, have Daniil get more one-on-ones, it would just make the whole defense come together, because we do have those 2 safeties over the top and Anthony Harrison and Harrison Smith. Vikings cornerback room, huge X factor in this upcoming year. My third X factor is kind of interesting. Now, this has nothing to do with Rodgers specifically or Jordan Love specifically. My third X factor is drama around the Packers in general. I know every team has drama, and the Vikings have some going on right now with Dalvin Cook. However, I feel like the Packers drama is kind of under the radar right now, and nobody's really talking about it since draft night, but it is something that could really be talked about after week 1, and that's the Jordan Love controversy. Now, let's just say the Packers go in the US Bank Stadium and lose 21-14 or whatever. Let's just say they lose by a touchdown. It's a close game. They just didn't pull it out, and Rodgers has a good game, but let's just say the receivers have a couple drops or whatever. That is when things could get really interesting. The media is going to have a field day. They're going to be like, why didn't you draft a receiver? Devontae Adams being double coverage the whole game. Devontae Adams he can't be the only one. Why is it your first round pick sitting on the bench? All the drama will start floating around. However, but if they shut that down early, there will be no drama around the Packers, because they honestly, they've had a quiet offseason kind of getting rid of the toxicity in their locker room. And it's something that I didn't really follow as a Vikings fan, but I was looking more into it. The Packers really cleaned things up this offseason, and I don't think they had that good of a draft. However, what they did in free agency was kind of sneaky good. It was more of addition by subtraction almost on the defensive side of the ball. However, I'm not going to speak for the Packers, but I do think if the Packers control the drama with Jordan Love, they could have another successful year. However, if they let that spin out of control, it could really affect the Packers. All right, now, even though I give the Lions probably a 5% chance to win the division this upcoming year, however, I think they won't be as bad as they were in past years, and that's just because of the talent. Now, my fourth X factor for the NFC North is, can the Lions overcome Matt Patricia? Now, when I say this, I think the Lions have a fantastic roster. I think top to bottom, I mean, it might be up there with the Packers, Vikings, and Bears, if we're being honest right now. Especially offensively with Hockenson, Galladay, Marvin Jones. Yes, Marvin Jones is a little old. Stafford. 2 running backs that I really like in Swift and Kerryon Johnson. An okay offensive line. But it really just comes down to, can they get past their own head coach? Can their own head coach let them play? Let them be successful and not hold them back? Because it seems like a lot of times last year he was almost getting in the way of himself, and he wasn't letting the guys play. Yes, the Lions were riddled with injuries last year. The refs screwed them in that Green Bay game. Lions had a lot going wrong. But if the Lions can really come together and rally around Matt Patricia, I don't think there'll be 2 free wins for any team in this division like they have been in past years. I mean, if they really start rallying around Patricia, would I be confident the Vikings could go into Detroit and get a win? No, I would not be confident. Depending on how the Vikings season's going, if the Vikings are struggling, the Lions are on the ups, that would be a real trap game for either Packers, Vikings, or even the Bears to go into Detroit. Now, I think a huge key to see where the Detroit season's going to be week 1. Bears going into Detroit. That will be a huge factor in the where Detroit season going to go. Because if they start off with a win, 1-0, they start rallying around Patricia, whole different story. Anyways, fourth X factor is, can the Lions overcome their own head coach? So now the fifth X factor is kind of interesting. I wrote down Bears 2008 defense or the Vikings 2017 defense. Now, when the Vikings went 13-3, we all know how good that defense was. And obviously when the Bears went 12-4, we all know how good that defense was. Now, when I say Bears 2018 defense or the Vikings 2017 defense, I think this year the Bears and the Vikings, they both have fantastic defenses. Bears have some question marks in the secondary. Vikings have more question marks in the secondary. However, I think the Vikings have a better coach than the Bears, even though I think the Bears have more talent. Now, I think if one of those defenses could replicate what they did in 2018 or 2017, that's going to be a huge X factor in the division. Because if they could get that, that's a for sure wild card spot for one of those teams. And I think if the Vikings specifically can get that out of their defense, the Vikings could be looking at a 13-3 season again due to how their offense is better than the Bears' offense. Now, this is also a huge X factor because when the Bears' defense normally plays well, the Vikings don't normally go in and win. And that's the same with the Packers. Like that one year the Bears went 12-4, it was very suffocating for divisional opponents to go into Chicago. Vikings have always played bad in Chicago. It's never been a secret to anybody, even Vikings fans. We can admit we never play good in Chicago. And if that defense is revved up like they were in 2018, it could be dangerous because I believe they have the potential to do that again. They have the potential to replicate that. Will they? Who knows? I mean, they got rid of Vic Fangio. I think that was a pretty key loss. However, I don't think it's going to be that big of a drop-off, really. I think it was like important. I don't know. Pretty much if they had Fangio, I'd be more afraid of this. But since they don't, I'm still kind of afraid of it, but not fully afraid. Anyways, I think if one of those defenses get back to their prime and their peak form, which I think both of them honestly could be very dangerous for the rest of the division. Anyways, guys, those are my 5 key X factors for the NFC North in this upcoming year. I think the NFC North is going to be a gauntlet. I think it's really going to come down to the divisional games. I think it's going to come down, can the Vikings steal one in Chicago? Can the Green Bay steal one in Minnesota? It's going to be who can steal a road game, who can protect their home field. Honestly, NFC North, I think all 4 teams have potential to win it. I think some more than others, obviously. Honestly, as a Vikings fan, I think us and the Bears and the Packers obviously all have the best chances. But at the end of the day, would I be shocked the Lions did it? A little bit, but then again, not really. I think they got talent to go and make a run. I think the Bears' defense is talented to make a run. And always, I'll never doubt Rodgers. I mean, Vikings fans, we should know this. But also, I think the Vikings have the most talented roster in the NFC North. I think it's going to be a gauntlet. Ton of X factors to look for. Ton of factors every single game, every single division game that we need to pay attention to. So excited for these divisional games to get started in the year. And it starts all week 1 with the Bears in Detroit and the Green Bay coming to Minnesota. Anyways, guys, if you are a Vikings fan, sub right here to the channel. I try to post a lot more. Not a lot of Vikings content right now, but I will be posting more NFC North content. So if you're a Lions, Bears, or Packers fan, even though I might piss you off with my bias, just let me know. I try to keep it as unbiased as possible and just talk about football. Anyways, leave a like on the video, comment down below. Comment if you agree or disagree with me. I would love to hear from especially Bears, Lions, or Packers fans because you guys have more insight on your team than, of course, I do. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about my predictions down below, my top 5 X Factors from the NFC North. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Remember to subscribe.